Hello, and welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Boland, and I'm a congenital amputee of the right hand. In this show, I will interview other amputees and allow them to tell you their incredible life stories. I'll also feature family members of amputees and others who support the amputee community, all in an effort to discuss the challenges and triumphs of those living with limb loss. So stick around and listen to inspirational stories and find out why we say, we're not stumped. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. My name is Mike Boland. Today I got a special guest on, and her name is Amira Radović. And she is the founder and inventor of TheraV. And what TheraV is, it's a product that helps amputees that suffer from phantom limb pain. As a child, Amira was inspired to become a biomedical engineer by her father, a civil engineer, and sci-fi movies like Robocop. But that's enough from me. I want to hear from you. And we always like to start the We're Not Stumped podcast with an in your own words. So Amira, I'd love to hear your story in your own words.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for having me here. It truly is an honor, and for making the time, giving me the opportunity to share my story. So as you mentioned, my name is Amira Radović. I am the CEO and founder of TheraV and inventor of the TheraV Elix device. So TheraV was founded in 2016. But I came up with the idea for TheraV in 2014 when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Delaware pursuing a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. So I actually got into the biomedical engineering. I was interested in biomedical engineering because I'm a daddy's girl, right? My dad's a civil engineer and I just wanted to be an engineer like my dad. But I wasn't really sure what type of engineer I wanted to be. But I knew I was interested in sci-fi movies like Robocop, Inspector Gadget, Power Rangers. And I just loved the idea of using technology to enhance the human ability. And so when I was applying to college, I looked up, what mix medicine, engineering, and biology together. Those were things I was good at, like biology and math. And, my dad wanted me to be a doctor. And so I found biomedical engineering. And then I learned about the prosthetic field. And I was like, oh, this is my path to building the future Robocops of the world. And I decided to go to the University of Delaware. And I was very fortunate that in 2014, my biomedical engineering department had a course called clinical immersion that allowed students to basically work in different fields that they were interested in. And I got the chance to work at a prosthetic clinic. And so while working at a prosthetic clinic, I was just going there to see how I can build really cool prostheses. Really. But what really stood out to me was, yes, the prosthetics and the prosthesis were really cool. But one thing that kept coming to my attention was this thing called phantom limb pain. Yeah. I was like, what is that? Like, we had patients come in and feel like, oh, my arm feels like it's hurting. Oh, my leg feels like there's a pick running through it. And I'm just like, huh? Like, you don't have your legs or your arm. And so I spoke to the patients that came in, spoke to the prosthetists, and they're like, yeah, this is a big problem, but we don't know what to do. And so I really just started looking into, why is it that I didn't know about this when I was researching the prosthetic field? All I saw on Google were like the really cool Blade Runners, the people that were jumping high and doing really cool, incredible things, the Paralympians. I was like, yeah, that's what this field is about. It's about the glamour of this really cool gadget. And so when I got the chance to actually speak to everyday people who were living with limb loss, I learned that phantom limb pain was a really big problem that affected over 80% of people who were living with an amputation. Yeah. And for me, that was just like, why isn't this being talked about? And I learned from the individuals themselves is because it seems like there was a stigma tied with phantom limb pain. The idea of having pain in something that is not there, right? I had patients tell me that I don't even share it with my family because they think I'm crazy. Or I don't speak to my physician about it because they tell me like, oh, your limb is fine, it's healed, there's nothing wrong with you. Or they just give me medication and then that's the end of the story. And for me, it was just really disheartening that that was something that somebody was suffering in silence with, and they weren't able to share it because they felt like nobody really was taking them seriously. So really, that's what started my journey with trying to figure out what was out there that can be done to help. My goal wasn't to start a company. It wasn't to build a product. It was to see what can I tell these patients that I meet that you should try this. This is what people are doing. And what I learned from individuals who were experiencing phantom limb pain was that they either were taking medication, which was the number one method to treat the pain, or they were tapping under a limb, right? They were like tapping it, massaging it, rolling the towel, just hitting it, hoping that the pain would go away. And for me, that just seems so inconvenient because I always say this 89-year-old Betty isn't going to wake up in the middle of the night to rub and massage and hit her limb for an hour or so until the pain goes away.
Yeah.
Because the pain can last from seconds to minutes to hours to days. And so for me, that just didn't seem like it was the best way to do it. So my goal was to figure out a way to either automate that process or find something out there. And really, that's what started my journey with TheraV, trying to figure out what was out there, speaking to over 300 people living with limb loss. I was doing a lot of customer discovery. And because of that, I successfully designed and developed the TheraV Elix to where it is today.
And the nice thing about it, as you said, it's not medication. And it seems like that was something, as I do my research, that like the number one supposed solution, which really isn't a solution. So you coming from a different train of thought has really helped. What inspired you to come up with a more mechanical is probably not the right word, but you know where I'm going. Just a different angle for a solution like with phantom limb pain.
It was really just looking at what alternatives amputees were using to help with their pain that were drug free. There were a lot of people that were like, I'd rather suffer in pain than take medication.
Yeah.
I'd rather go through the episode. And I was just like, no, there has to be something better. So really speaking to the people who were experiencing this pain, pain doctors, physical therapists, prosthetists, really trying to like, do my own research, see what was out there. And I and as I mentioned, a lot of people were saying I was massaging my limb, I'm rubbing my limb, I'm hitting my limb in hoping that the pain would go away. And I also was a student athlete at that time. So I ran track and field for the University of Delaware women's team. And I was like, well, one thing that usually works for me for pain, like I'm accident prone, that usually works for me is massage. Like massage, like after a good workout, massage, after I meet massage. Is there a way that we can massage the limb to make it easier for them to be able to stimulate the nerve? Because one thing I learned about phantom pain was that the reason many people experienced it is because of mixed signals that are being relayed to the brain. So when someone gets an amputation, especially as an older adult or as an adult, their body is basically used to that limb being there. The brain has been programmed to function with that limb being there. So when the limb is amputated, the nerve endings that were connected to that limb is still there, but they've basically been cut shorter. So the brain is sending signals to those nerve endings and it's not hitting, it's not getting to respond, it's been programmed to receive. So the incredible things about the pain is that the brain is that it's very, very complex. So what it does is that it doesn't get the respond, it's been programmed to receive. So it sends that signal to the pain portion of the brain saying, I don't know what to do with this, something must be wrong, hence why you have that pain. So my goal was to figure out a way to take what people were currently doing, automate it to stimulate the nerve endings and give a signal to the brain to tell them this is where the limb ends. You do not need to panic. So massage was really what I was going for. And at that time, I ran into a whole body vibrating platform when I was working out, just very curious, see what it was. And after I tried it, I just had this light bulb moment, like vibration therapy is a form of massage. And if we can use it to target the nerves, that could be a solution. And so I really started digging into research about vibration therapy, vibration stimulation, mechanical stimulation, and seeing what has been done out there to help either with nerve pain or amputation pain. And that's really what started my journey.
Well, it's an interesting journey because it's almost like two stories we can tell. One is all about the phantom limb pain, but you also had a passion project, for lack of a better term, that you took to market. And that in itself isn't easy. How was that road for you going forward when you had this idea and then you wanted to come to market?
Oh, it's been a long, difficult road full of tears, happiness, joy, all the emotions you go through.
Sure.
But it honestly has been a very exciting and fulfilling journey for me. I honestly feel this is what I'm called to do. I've been doing this full time since I graduated in 2016 from the University of Delaware, and haven't turned back since, right? I've been getting great support from the amputee community, like the individuals themselves, I've been attending different amputee support groups, attending conferences with the Amputee Coalition. And so that really has helped with the journey. I think one of the biggest challenges that I have faced and I'm still facing is, trying to get funding to do what we're doing. I started out when I came up with this idea, I didn't feel that I had the experience to build a product. Hence why I wasn't trying to build a product or start a company. I was trying to look for what was already out there. And I was still a student, right? And would be graduating a few years afterwards. And when I graduated, I got a chance to basically work with the entrepreneurship program, the Horn Entrepreneurship at the University of Delaware. They have been my number one supporter since day one. They are the reason TheraV is TheraV. So they have, or TheraV is existing. So they have a program called the Summer Founders Program. And through that program, they basically forced me to start a company. They gave me funding to travel across the country to speak to different people who were experiencing this pain, to validate that this was indeed a problem that needed to be addressed and brought to a solution that needed to be brought to market. And they have supported me even till today, right? They've been supporting me. And they're the reason why I started this. So they were able to give me funding, send me grants and competitions, business competitions that I was able to apply for. And we won and we got more funding. And that got us to building the product, building a prototype, getting feedback from our end users for that prototype, getting the beta out there, getting feedback for that, and then launching the final product. And so that really, it's just been really bootstrapping, attending different pitch competitions, applying to different grants, and hoping to get this product to market, which thank God we've been able to successfully do that. Now we're at the phase where we're trying to get investors to really invest in this idea, this product, not an idea anymore, an actual physical product on the market that we validated that there's a need for. We have a physical product out there. But that's kind of been the biggest challenge, trying to find investors that understand that this is a problem that needs to be addressed. The really hard thing about startups is trying to find an investor that understands this pain, right? Trying to find someone who doesn't just see therapy as, oh, it's a good thing you're doing, but yes, we're willing to write a check or help you get this product to more people who need it, because this is really a pain point that needs to be addressed. So that's really our big challenge, trying to find people who are willing to help us move forward and expand this so we can get the product to more people.
Well, if anyone's listening, we certainly hope they take the opportunity to help you even more, because this is a very important product. Now, as a congenital myself, that's not something I go through. And I think for the most part, most congenitals don't go through that. To your point about growing up with your limb and then suddenly losing that didn't happen with me. But it is extremely important for people that have lost their limbs, because it is one of the most commonly talked about topics that I hear about when I go to other amputee support groups. So yeah, I think it's fantastic what you're doing. But can you tell us about the product a little bit more, the product itself?
Oh, yes. So the TheraV Elix device, which I have here, hopefully I can show it to you, Lauren.
Yeah,
But this is the TheraV Elix device. It's the wearable band that is wrapped around the residual limb. When people see it, kind of reminds them of a blood pressure cuff. Just that's kind of the inspiration about it.
Okay.
For it. Initially, we started out as a vibrating sock, but the feedback we got from our end users was nobody wanted to wear another sock. It's like, I don't want to wear another sock. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I hear you. So if we had just gone with that idea and not speak to our end users and be like, yeah, they want to wear another sock, we wouldn't have been able to have a successful product.
Interesting.
So really speaking to the end users, getting their feedback, thanks to their help, we were able to design this band. So it's a band with pockets that are lined. I don't know if you can see that.
It was going in and out, but pretty much, yes.
And then there's a pocket in here, which allows for the control unit to go into. So this is the control unit right here.
Oh, wow.
So it goes right into the pocket. This is the brains of the operation. It just has an on and off switch, rechargeable micro USB battery. And then it has two of these. These are our vibrating capsules. This is where the therapy comes from. And basically what we did is that we designed a band that allows our users to be able to wash it, so they can take it out and wash it. One of the feedback we got from our beta, which had everything integrated in it, is that people wanted to be able to wash their band. I was like,
Yeah, it
yeah,
makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
So we designed a second version of it to be able to do so. It also has a mobile app that communicates with the control unit. It allows the user to be able to control the vibration intensity. So we have a level 1 to 7, the vibration patterns. We have a continuous vibration, a pulsating vibration, and a slowly increasing and decreasing vibration. And the reason we designed it that way was because we know everyone is different. Everybody reacts to therapies differently. So we wanted to make sure that we made it as customizable as possible, so each individual can customize the therapy to fit their need. One of the things we learned when interviewing our end users was that even for people who were bilateral amputees or quad amputees, the intensity of their phantom pain that they experience can differ from limb to limb. The duration of the pain can differ from limb to limb. The sensitivity or how sensitive your limbs are can differ from limb to limb. So it was really trying to design around that constraint that we have to make sure that a large group of people can be able to use the device, get it closely to one fit most as possible, because as a startup, cost is very, very important when
Yeah.
developing a product. So that was all the things we took into consideration in developing the product. So it's a wearable device that uses mechanical stimulation in the form of vibration to stimulate the nerve endings of the residual limb, disrupting the pain signals that are being relayed to the brain. So as I mentioned earlier, the device is basically telling the brain, as the vibration travels, like, this is where the limb ends. You don't need to panic. Here's a feedback. This is where the limb ends.
Interesting.
It works almost the same way as a TENS unit does. The only difference with our device is that, one, you can wear it even if you have an implant on, and you can wear it for longer periods of time. We even have individuals who sleep with it on. It helps them go to
Wow.
sleep. And they would wear it throughout the night, and they would tell us, like, I woke up and I couldn't believe I slept through the night, right? I didn't wake up in the middle of the night in pain. So we really designed that based on the feedback we had received from our end users.
And the first time we were talking earlier, the first time you actually displayed it, if I'm not mistaken, was at the Amputee Coalition in 2018. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. The first time we presented it to the public was at the Amputee Coalition of America conference in 2018. I believe it was in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So yeah, got great feedback from our end users, and it's interesting because every year we go to the conference, and that year the exact same thing. We saw a lot of universities that were doing research on phantom limb pain, and they
Oh,
get
wow.
hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars from the US government to research this problem and find a solution. And one feedback or that we got from the amputees that we met at the conference was that, yeah, every year they come, but nobody actually brings a product out
And you
for us
did.
to use. And so I thought that was very interesting. I was like, we have something. And they're like, yeah, you did. And it was just so amazing to just get that feedback and get that get that confidence that we're on the right path, that we are actually solving an issue that people have, and we have a solution. We had people actually try it on the conference who had phantom pain. They're like, yeah, well, I'm getting it right now. It's like, okay, try it, give us your feedback. And we left with orders at the end of the conference, which is just, before we actually started production, we left with orders with a prototype that we took to the conference. So
Wow,
that
that's fantastic. And then I've seen on your Facebook page, and we'll get all the URLs in the description, but there's actually, you have videos of people actually using it and talking through it. And I thought that was very interesting.
Yes, yes, we do. We actually are still in the process of collecting more feedback. Our goal is to get audio and video feedback to show real people using the product, just not just what we're saying, right? Just so you can believe that this is not something we're just coming up with. There are people who have been with us since the beginning of this journey, and they're lifelong users of the TheraV Elix. So it's that's our goal, is to collect as much feedback as we can and share that with all of you.
And on the website, you have two different areas. You have an ambassador program where people can sign up. What does that entail, being an ambassador?
So the TheraV Ambassador program is for everyday amputees who are experiencing phantom limb pain, that either have tried our device, want to use our device, and basically help us raise awareness of our mission and what we're doing, which is really to transform amputation care and rehabilitation. That's really the goal of therapy, and really innovating that space. So what it entails is basically every individual. You do not need to be like a big influencer. You could be a peer support person. You can be someone that just wants to bring this to your local clinic. Basically, you sign up, and what we do is we give a discount to purchase the device, a 50% discount to purchase the device, because we want to get the word out there as quickly as possible. And in return, you help us spread the word, and you help us raise awareness, and you also get to make some money out of what you do, because
Very
that's
nice.
our way of also giving back and make sure that you are compensated for the work that you put in. We've had people who've been in the brand ambassador program that have been able to pay it off, like make back the money that they
Very
made,
nice.
that they paid for their device. So being able to do that is what the brand ambassador program is all about.
Well, that's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea. And let me, one of the questions I asked you earlier, is it for upper and lower limb? And I'd like to ask, is it for both upper and lower?
Yes, it
It
is.
is.
It's for upper and lower limb, residual limbs. The only thing that we do try to mention is that you need to have a long enough residual limb to wrap the band around.
Yeah.
But we've actually gotten feedback from a few of our customers who have found creative ways to use the device without the band. So some of
Very
them use
nice.
it with their liners, their sock. So they would insert the vibrating capsules into their liners or sock and position it where they
Oh,
want.
very
And then they would
nice.
use the device that way. Some people might use like an ace bandage to wrap it around their limb. Like they would find very creative ways to use it. So, and that's the great thing about the design. It allows for you to be able to customize it to fit what's best for you. We're currently working on a design to make this device a better fit for people who have, like, say, a hip disarticulation or a shoulder disarticulation, mainly because they don't have a long enough residual limb
Yeah.
to be able to wear the band. So we're working on that design right now.
And on the website, you can order it directly from the website. So is there a fitting that's involved too? You order it and get fitted, or is it, to your point, you can just wrap it, and how
Yeah,
does
so
that
it's
work?
one size fits most is a
Okay.
28-inch long band, and you can extend it if you have larger residual limb. You can extend it using like a Velcro material, a Velcro band. So this material itself, it really like Velcros on itself.
Very nice.
So it's designed that way. So
That's
in case you need to, make the device, the band longer, or you can purchase two bands and just make it longer that way. But also it can fit my wrist, right? So my wrist is about 6 inches in circumference. So it can wrap around that as well. It also has this buckle system that allows for individuals to be able to basically, let me just show you, tighten the device.
got it. Okay.
So you're able to, oh, I just kind of wrapped it around. But you're able to tighten the device just like almost like a blood pressure cuff. So you're
Got
able
it.
to tighten it to fit your residual limb. Yep.
Well, I
So
can tell you,
it's one size fits most.
I can tell you as a one-handed person, I love Velcro.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's
I
great.
designed it because of people who had like
Yes.
upper limb amputations and
Yeah.
had like one hand to work with. Yeah,
There you go.
that was the
Exactly.
inspiration for using Velcro.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can tie my shoes, but it's like, hey, Velcro's a little easier. That's a pretty
Yeah, right.
good. You also have a medical partnership program. Can you describe that?
Yeah, so our medical partnership program is working with people in the medical field, so clinicians, prosthetists, physical therapists, who are looking to try our device with their patients. So they sign up with us, we reach out to them, they tell us about like their amputation program, what they do, what they're looking to use our device for, and we would basically send them a device, and
Nice.
usually at the cost of what it costs us to make the device. Because our goal is that if we want to get more clinics, physicians, physical therapists, hospitals to use our device and raise awareness again of what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
and really get their patients to try drug-free alternatives
Yeah.
as an adjunct therapy for their pain before they go to, say, taking and increasing their medication intake or taking their medication or going to get more invasive surgery or revisions to help with their pain. So that's our goal, is to basically try and get this clinics and hospitals to say, hey, here's a drug-free solution, try it first, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, then we can figure out how we can help improve your care. And one thing I didn't mention with our app is that we're able to also collect information on de-identified information. So we
Sure.
don't know who it's coming from,
Yep.
but collect information on how often the device is used, when it's used, what the pain level was. So you're able to rate your pain right before you use the device and then after you use the device, what the weather or temperature or the environment was when you had this pain, in hopes to collect this information and provide it to our end users as well as their physicians to better help them document their pain and help improve their overall care.
Well, that's a perfect use case for data collection. I know it's anonymous, but that's exactly why it's a good thing at times because you need that information to be able to make improvements in people's lives.
Exactly, exactly. And again, this all came from speaking to the end users, like going to amputee support groups. We attended a lot. I attended a lot of amputee support groups across the country when I first started out, and I still attend some to today, speaking and presenting therapy. But one of the feedback that I had gotten when I had asked, "How often do you get this pain?" People were guessing. They're like, maybe like once a year, 2 times a month, every week, every day. Like they were, a lot of people weren't really documenting their pain. It was just part of life. It's just something that happens, and then I take a medication or I wait it out, and then it's over. So really trying to get that information to help bridge that gap and missing components in amputation care is what we're working on.
Well, that's very interesting that, and you can kind of see that, like in anything else in life. Sometimes you don't know how many times you do X, and how many times that this is something that affects them, and they didn't even know and realize that is vital information. That's very good. Again, a very good use case. So, what's next for you and your company, and where you're going? What's the future look like?
So right now we're really just working on getting the device into as many hands as possible, getting more people to use the device, not only to for us to be able to provide this alternative solution for a very serious problem, but to also be able to improve our product. And as I said, help improve amputation care. So right now we launched the TheraV Elix at the end of last year, really just launched into the market, where began raising awareness and marketing the product like in January, the middle of January. So right now we're just in the process of getting the word out, getting more people using it, collecting more feedback. And our goal is to eventually try and get investors to fund what we're doing to help us scale quicker, grow quicker, and improve on the product as we move forward. And of course, I have other ideas of products. As I said, I've interviewed a lot of people in the past few years. I've heard a lot of issues that need addressing. And what's really amazing is that I'm seeing a lot of startups that are also creating solutions to some of these problems that I learned about in the past few years. So it's just great to also see that happening. But yeah, my mission right now is to focus on TheraV Elix, address the issue of phantom limb pain, get the word out there, raise money to be able to get more products out there, and further improve and develop the products and also other future products that can help improve amputation care overall.
Well, that's very exciting. And for this product, what's the website address so people can go take a look at it?
So the website is therav.me. So THERAV.me. That's also our Instagram handle, therav.me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's where I found you. So you're doing a great job with your marketing. I found you on
I'm
Instagram.
working on it.
Yeah, you're doing great. And one thing I want to read, and I want to read it here because I thought something you had said on your website. I just wanted to repeat it and get your thoughts on this. Hearing the personal stories and struggles of amputees living in pain motivated me to take a leap of faith and address a problem. I just think that was fantastic of you to do that. And and again, thank you for being on the We're Not Stumped podcast. It really means a lot to me. And hopefully this will get the word out more for you.
Thank you for having me. And I really hope that we're able to raise awareness about what we're doing and encourage more people to try the product. I think one thing I should also make very clear to everyone is that our mission is to help you manage your pain. If we make a profit in the future, great, right? We're still a startup, so that's a long road to go. But you get 30 days money back guarantee should the device not be a good fit for you, right? Our goal is to help as many people as possible. And if the device doesn't work for you, it gives us more feedback to be able to improve on the product. So maybe in the future, we can develop a product that works for you. So again, it's a really no risk trial
Yeah.
for the device. So we encourage you to give us a shot and see. You might be very surprised how the device helps you with your pain.
Oh, I think hopefully a lot of people will be trying this. And I'll tell you what, the passion, as you said, passion project, the passion in your voice for the product and the reason why you're doing it definitely came out today. And that if you're going to run a business, you have to be able to sell the product to make it available for others. And so you're doing the right thing, and I love it. And I would encourage everyone to give it a shot. Again, being a congenital, it's not necessarily something. You know what? I'll tell you though. You know what I get as a congenital? I'll get an itch right here that I cannot scratch.
Try the device. Try the device. So our device helps with itches, pins and needles, zingers, whatever you can describe. It can also help with limb desensitization. Or if you just want a nice massage on your limb, we might be the right device for you.
All right. I'm going to take you up on that. Thank you so much. But I've taken some of your time today, and I appreciate your time. And if there's anything that comes to mind, or any new products or services, anything else you're working on, you have an open invitation to come back on the We're Not Stumped podcast. And I thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
That was the We're Not Stumped podcast, hosted by Mike Boland. If you want to be a guest on the program, reach out to Mike at his email address, mike@mikeboland.com. This podcast is produced by One Hand Man Productions. If you are looking to start your podcast, go to onehandmanproductions.com.